benedictions to you, our dear viewers, and welcome to Zanis TV, the People's Channel. My name is Matthews Chakulunta Jr. Today we are joined by Tamara Buku, Vice Secretary General, Capital Markets Association of Zambia, representing LUSE. We are here to discuss the upcoming Zambia Capital Markets Conference and Awards. This landmark event, themed Unlocking Capital Markets for Inclusive Economic Growth, brings together key stakeholders from October 2nd to 3rd, 2025 in Livingstone to foster dialogue on capital market development and celebrate industry successes. We'll be looking into how this conference aims to drive national development and the role of capital markets in increasing a more inclusive and sustainable economy for Zambia. It is with great pleasure to have you in the studios today.
Thank you very much, Matthews. I really appreciate you having me in your studio this morning. It's a lovely studio, I might add.
Thank you.
This is my very first time here, so it's a real great honor to be here and to be representing the Lusaka Securities Exchange.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Now, to get started, tell us more about this upcoming event.
Absolutely, Matthews. Thank you. So the Zambia Capital Markets Conference and Awards is a flagship event, like you've just mentioned. It's the inaugural one, meaning that this would be the first time that we are hosting an event of such magnitude. It's a premier event because why we say that is because we will be gathering some very senior, government officials who will be present at the event. We will be hosting regulators. We will be hosting investors who are coming in from both the local market as well as outside of the country, and other capital market operators who will be present to engage in the dialogue that we will be looking to have. The event is scheduled to take place from the 2nd to the 3rd of October. It will be hosted at the Avani Resort in Livingstone, and both days of the conference will be attended at that location.
Great. Great. Now, the theme seems to be timely. Unlocking capital markets for inclusive economic growth. What is the relevance?
Absolutely. Thank you for that question. So, that speaks to the Securities Exchange or the Stock Exchange. The LUSE has been in existence for a little over 30 years now, or maybe just about 30 years. And what really LUSE is, it's a market which brings together buyers and sellers of stock, people who are savers and people who would be investors. So those who have excess funds would be looking to place their monies into, shares, stocks, maybe corporate bonds, debentures, for corporate entities that are looking to raise capital. So the relevance of this really is that LUSE is at the center of it all. And that's why it's their best place to be the host of this event, because they bring together everybody from a regulatory perspective, from an operator perspective, from a participant perspective, issuers, brokers, everybody kind of sits around the LUSE. So to bring everybody together to have a discussion around this theme that we're looking to unlock, the inclusive economic growth is something that's very key at this time.
Great. Now, this conference is attracting people from wide and far.
Yep.
How are you engaging local stakeholders, people that might be deemed not to be how can I put it? Should I say people that are not of high class of some sort? How do you intend to include them?
Everybody is included. That's why we call it inclusive growth. Everybody, absolutely everybody, from a lady selling tomatoes at Soweto Market to somebody sitting in a corporate office. Everybody is included. Why I say that is because there is access, right? There's a mobile application that the LUSE has at the moment, which anybody can download to their smartphone. They would be able to create an account, log in, obviously having done some research, because you have to know what you're investing in before you do. And where that comes, on that side, you would really need to engage an investment advisor or a broker who would give you some insights to which is the best stocks to be investing in at the moment. right? Because performance changes over the year. Business is cyclical. And so you want to get yourselves into a position where you understand the way the market dynamics are, the way that the specific company you'd be looking to invest in is performing, and then you would want to go in. So through that mobile application, anybody with a mobile money interconnectivity would be able to purchase shares without necessarily having to go into somebody's office to do that. The other way to do that is to get to a broker. So there are a number of brokers. If you visit the LUSE website, which is www.luse.co.zm, you'll be able to get to see all the brokers that are available on the market, and you can visit any one of them who will give anybody information around how they get to invest, as well as on the website itself. There is a lot of information for investors that they can use to familiarize themselves, so that, like you've said, then anybody, whether it's a student who has 500 kwacha and they would like to buy 10 shares today, that is possible. To somebody who is in a farm in Kabwe or in a farm in Mkushi, anybody can participate.
Well, we understand it's a digital world, but what initiatives have you put in place to enable a common Zambian who doesn't have a smartphone to access what you have put on the table?
Right. Okay. So I think from a USSD perspective, at the moment, we do not have that type of service because it is all on the mobile app, right? But there are some brokers who have offices across the rail line.
Okay.
So in scenarios
Countrywide?
like that, countrywide, yes, but mostly along the line of rail. So I don't think I can say that you would go into Mansa and find a broker there, but you can still engage with them via telephone, where a telephone call can be placed. Obviously, they would have to go through some KYC requirements to assist with the setups, but they would then facilitate how that gets done. And which broker you choose is entirely up to you. There's no restrictions as to one over the other.
Wonderful. We have, observed that you work with different entities. Now, let's look at the role of Lusaka Securities Exchange in this particular conference. What is their role?
So I think the role of the LUSE, the Lusaka Securities Exchange, in this is really to bring everybody together. They are at the center of the capital markets. Investments do not happen until they are listed on the Lusaka Securities Exchange.
Okay.
So a company would need to first list, which means they have to go through various governance requirements, which needs to get regulatory approval before that particular stock can be issued to the public via what we call an initial public offering. We've not had very many in the recent years. I think the last IPO, initial public offering, was that of Safico in 2018. Since then, there hasn't been one, but I am led to believe that there are possibilities that we might see two in 2026 coming up. So that is where, for the first time, an issuer is coming to the market and making their stock available to anybody who wishes to participate in being a shareholder in that company.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Now, many people today do not want to go through that entire process. How do you make it easy for them to get registered and be part and parcel of your programs?
So in terms of ease, I think the mobile application is where that happens, right? Because all your setup is done there. You do your online registration, setup of the account. Similarly, I think we are primarily speaking about the Lusaka Securities Exchange, but the Bank of Zambia is also another market where investors could go in and purchase bonds or treasury bills.
Yeah.
That's also part of the capital market. So again, they have a investor portal which is open to anybody to sign up. You would upload your NRC. You'd be able to then update your information. That will go through a verification process before they will accept your account. And once that is set up, then you're able to start transacting, either purchasing shares on the LUSE app or purchasing bonds on the investor portal.
Okay. Let's make some progress by looking at the role of Capital Markets Association of Zambia. What is
Absolutely.
SMAS and why is it important?
Okay, thank you very much. So SIMAS is a industry of professionals that have come together from the entire spectrum of the capital markets in Zambia. So that would include the banks, so commercial banks. That would include, they are what we call custodians. It would include brokers, it includes fund managers, it includes pension funds. So the capital market is very, very broad, right? So SIMAS aims to bring all those players together to get to a point where we're having discussions that are about developing the nation, right? How do we develop our capital markets? How do we get to a point where we are, facing off against world markets, right? So the New York Stock Exchange level. Obviously, we're not yet there. Zambia is still a very young market, as I've just mentioned, but we want to get there. So we cannot do that in isolation. So SIMAS brings everybody together to have conversations where we have advocacy items that we would like to have driven through the regulators, for instance, or something that needs to be channeled to the Ministry of Finance, which is the overarching ministry for the capital markets. That happens through the Capital Markets Association of Zambia. So it's a centralized hub also, so to speak, where market professionals are able to come together, bring their ideas, where they're facing challenges, they can then table those through those fora and then have their issues resolved in an amicable way.
You talked about professionals gathering to share ideas and ensure that they push the agenda of SMAS.
Yes.
Now let's talk about the marginalized in society. How do you ensure that their voices are heard? Much that only professionals per se gather on those round tables to articulate issues.
So SIMAS is actually open to everybody.
Okay.
From student, we have student membership, we have individual membership, we have corporate memberships, and we have memberships of individuals who fall under those corporates. So anybody is free to join SIMAS where they feel that they are not getting, assistance the way that they believe it should. SIMAS is there to support that. If somebody feels that they have entered into an unscrupulous investment, right, because there are those people who do try to take advantage of investors or would-be investors who are maybe not so clued on in terms of what they should be doing. Right. So where they have grievances like that, they can channel those through SIMAS. SIMAS will then connect to the Securities and Exchange Commission, who is the basically there to ensure that there is investor protection in everything, all the transactions that are going through the capital markets. So you will find that sometimes there are individuals who start to offer products that have not gone through the regulatory approval process that I had mentioned earlier, and will start to offer products which are offering very high returns. Invest 1,000 today and you'll get back 10,000 next week.
Oh,
that doesn't work.
That's interesting.
That does not work.
Okay, yeah.
Growth is steady.
Okay.
Right? So when you invest, you're actually looking for the long term. You should not be looking to invest to make your return tomorrow, because then you'll end up falling into
Obviously,
these.
people are not patient.
Exactly.
They want to see quick results.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And in most cases, that's why they say high risk and high reward, right? But sometimes that high risk will end you in a very bad situation,
right.
And better to err on the side of caution.
Right. Right. Now, let's look at how this conference aligns with the development priorities under the 8th National Development Plan.
Indeed.
Yes. How does this align with the 8th National Development Plan?
Absolutely, and thank you very much. So, in terms of mobilizing the domestic and foreign investment for the capital market, the 8th National Development Plan really is looking to transform the private sector. I think we have heard various representatives of government from our president who have spoken to private sector development and the fact that the economy needs to be driven by private sector. So what this conference is going to do is to bring those entities that are able to come forth, right? We're talking about opening up more listings, for instance, on the Lusaka Securities Exchange. So any corporate that has, been running, is in making profits, maybe wants to embark on a growth or expansion project, they would come to the market to raise that capital. And when I say the market, I'm referring to the LUSE, because that's where you find people who are ready to buy shares, they're ready to save or invest, and you are looking for money to grow your business, right? So in alignment with the 8th National Development Plan, this conference really is looking at, various topics from sustainability, from good governance, to some of the listed companies that we have seen that have done tremendously well this year. You might know that the LUSE was recently mentioned by Bloomberg as one of the best performing stock markets in the world.
True.
That is huge. We have 2 of our listed companies that have recently hit the $1 billion market capitalization, right? So that is great for their shareholders. And what we're looking to do is to ensure that all the other listed companies also rise to that level, but also the new entrants can see that there's growth. When you come onto the market, you're first of all setting up a very strong foundation for your company to grow, because then you have all the governance structures in place, and you are reporting to your shareholders on an annual basis and showing them exactly what you're doing with the money that they gave you, as an investment. So in line with the 8th National Development Plan, we're really looking at the conference is looking to bring together those, whether it's the World Bank, the IFC, the IMF, who are very close to the nation at the moment. Yes. We're basically saying we want them to help us understand what the best practices are globally and how we can grow and lift ourselves so that Zambia does become an investment destination of choice, because there are investors all over the world. Like you mentioned, we're in a digital age now.
Yes,
and people from outside Zambia are looking for where they can put their money, because there are lower returns in other parts of the world. The more developed sections of the world don't get the great interest rates that we have, or the great growth percentages that we see happening in a developing market like Zambia. So, of course, Africa also, from a broader perspective, is kind of in the same situation. So where you have all these African markets looking to get that investment from the foreign space coming into their market, we also have to level up as Zambia. Okay. And I think that's how the alignment of this happens.
There was a question I stated earlier before this particular special interview. Other people consider this to be a scam, and they think maybe sensitization is jargon. How can you lay it down so easily for them to understand?
Right. So we are coming up on what we call World Investor Week in the month of October. And throughout the year, most of the capital market operators or participants, you will find that there are a lot of initiatives where organizations go to schools, where we have just yesterday, actually there was a debate. Yes. That was being done by the schools, because we want to start from that level, where learners are coming out of their education, their formal education, knowing a little bit about what the capital markets is, what they can do, what ideas are they thinking of while they're in school for what they can do, because we really don't want to be bringing up children who only think of employment. They should become employers.
Yes.
And to be an employer, you have to start a business, right? So, there are various activities that take place. The Capital Markets Association of Zambia is also very strong in terms of pioneering for investor education. On a monthly basis, the Securities and Exchange Commission runs a town hall where they will be speaking on various aspects of the capital markets, whether it's about investing in bonds, whether it's about investing in equities, what a corporate bond is. There are various topics that can come about, whether it's wealth management for the higher affluent sectors of the market, to somebody who's looking to invest 100 kwacha on a monthly basis. That 100 kwacha every month can grow. right? When you look at it in isolation, you think I only have 100 kwacha today. I can't do much with that. But if you compound it, because you're on a monthly basis, you're buying more shares and more shares and more shares. When that stock starts to perform very well, and I'll give you an example of CEC, the corporate Copper Belt Energy Corporation.
True.
When CEC came to the market, I think they were selling their shares at around 3 kwacha per share at the IPO stage. Today, CEC is trading at around 45 kwacha per share. So if you invested at 3 kwacha, you've now made 42 kwacha per share that you hold in CEC. So if you are selling today, you've made that much profit on your initial investment. So, in terms of the scam, that's, definitely not, it's not something that we like to see, but there are unscrupulous individuals who will try to take advantage. And, institutions like SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission, the LUSE themselves, Capital Markets Association of Zambia, we do go out and conduct investor education programs. So please do look out. I think next week actually starting is when World Investor Week commences. Okay. So there will be various activities taking place where you will see even such senior people as the Minister of Finance or the Governor of Bank of Zambia coming forward to, get to the grassroots and speak to people about what the actual capital markets entails.
Great. So in simpler terms, stock market is not only for big investors.
Not at all.
Even ordinary citizens can invest.
Anybody can invest.
Brilliant.
Even a student can invest. So, unlike driving a car, which requires a license, you don't need a license to be an investor.
That's
so
a good one.
From as young as, when you start to maybe get pocket money or an allowance, your mom gives you 10 kwacha to go to school.
Yes.
And that's your lunch money. Save 5. Buy something for 5 kwacha, maybe carry some food from home so that you don't have to buy that as a student. Save that 10 kwacha and start buying shares.
Wow, brilliant. Let's look at the awards night.
Yes.
How does it look like?
So the awards night is going to be an outstanding night.
Okay.
It's set up. We're planning for it to be, a massive gala. It's going to be a black tie theme. So we will have most of the participants who would be attending, the delegates that are attending the conference, still available in Livingston. So what this award night is looking to do is about recognizing the outstanding issuers, outstanding and innovative products that have been brought to market, and also to celebrate exemplary corporate governance.
Okay.
So we will be giving out awards on that night because we want to drive best industry practice. We want people who are participating on the capital markets to be aiming to be the best at what they do.
Wow.
Because when we push for that kind of participation, right, where you want to make sure that everything we do is the best, that is how you grow an economy.
Great.
If we're doing everything substandard, that's when now you start to say, but why should I go and buy shares on the LUSE when I won't make a profit? But if you can buy today at 3 kwacha, and then in 10 years' time, you're able to sell off at 50 kwacha, that is a great investment.
Yes.
And when you start to receive dividends on that, that also can become a source of income for yourself.
Great.
Right? And again, like I mentioned, if you start young, by the time that you're getting to retirement, your pension is set up. Because whether it's from bonds, you have coupon payments coming in, that's your interest on a bond that you might have purchased. And that's money that you can live off while your capital remains preserved.
Yeah, wonderful. Just in case you're joining us, this is a special interview with Tamara Buku, who is the Vice Secretary General for Capital Markets Association of Zambia, discussing the upcoming Zambia Capital Markets Conference and awards. Now, quickly, as we sum up this particular interview, why Livingstone? Yes, why Livingstone?
Absolutely. So, Livingstone is our tourist capital. We have the beautiful Victoria Falls. And because this is not a domestic event, we are bringing in delegates from the region. delegates from outside of Africa, delegates from within Africa, right? So we want to showcase what our tourism industry is all about also. So Livingstone was the destination that was chosen because we want to showcase our regional investment potential, right? This ties into the town center development program. I think that the Minister of Tourism is currently, showcasing and speaking about, and how even through the capital markets, capital can be raised for such a project to develop a city, right? Because then you can issue a municipal bond, and the local residents of Livingstone can save or invest in that bond, right? And by the growth of the tourism industry, where we start getting visitors, and we've heard the statistics in terms of the number of tourists coming into Zambia over the last 5 years, I think 4 or 5 years, which has been growing significantly. That is foreign exchange which is coming into our country. The growth of that industry would ultimately then pay back those bonds that the municipality would have taken out, and ideally then everybody wins.
Okay.
The residents of Livingstone, the residents of Zambia, anybody even from outside of Zambia who would be looking to invest in such a bond can bring their money in. And so I think really the choice to have the conference in Livingstone was just about bringing everybody together into our tourist capital to show off what we have there. The Avani Resort is a great resort also, and we're really grateful to them for hosting us. And I think it's being set up to be quite a a wonderful conference.
Yeah, for they say the only thing better than money is more money.
That's true.
So what are the expected outcomes?
Okay, so I think the expected outcomes really, we're looking to to develop our policies. We want stronger policy commitments. We are going to be graced by His Honor, the Minister of Finance, Dr. Stumbeko Mtsokotwane. We have a guest of honor, rather he's our guest of honor, and we do have many keynote speakers also. So we're looking to foster dialogue around policy. We're also going to be learning about the potentially new listings that we may see coming up in the next year. We're looking for innovative financial products, so the regulators will be present to speak to, as innovations are coming up, are they safe? Are they safe for investors to put their money into? And then obviously we will hear some of the, some of the success stories that have come out of our capital markets, where we had the first green bond that was listed or issued in 2023. And so really the outcomes are to look at where we have come from, where we are today, and where we would like to be in the next 5 to 10 years as an industry.
Great. Now, lastly, how can people take part and follow the discussions?
Thank you so much, Matthew. So the discussion is ongoing. The website that we have available is www.awards.luce.co.zm. Alternatively, you can search on Facebook or on Google for the Zambia Capital Markets Conference and Awards, and you will find that page, which will give all the information in terms of how one can participate as a delegate, whether it's from an individual to a corporate level. There's also a public voting that is running at the moment. So we have nominated a number of individuals who are key in the market from, their financial literacy programs, where they have running maybe pages on social media. So there are individuals who you can follow and learn more about what the capital markets does. And if those who do know them can go back to the same website that I've mentioned, awards.luce.co.zm, and you'll be able to vote for some of these individuals. Just also to appreciate them for what they do, because they do it out of their own passion. Nobody's paying them to do that.
Okay.
It's their passion to grow the industry. It's their passion to share the knowledge that they have. And so that is how, one can get to participate. There would be numbers also available on the website where you can call directly into contacts at the LUCE if you wish to learn more or to register to attend the event next week with us.
Great, great. Thank you so much for coming through. Do well in the upcoming conference and awards.
Thank you very much, Matthews. It's been my great honor and pleasure to be here, and we look forward to welcoming many more delegates, including the ones we already know who are coming at the event next week. That will be in Livingston at the Avani Resort on the 2nd and 3rd of October 2025. Thank you.
Thank you. This has been your host, Matthews Chakulunta Jr. on this special interview edition, and I was discussing with Tamara Buku, who is the Vice Secretary General for Capital Markets Association of Zambia. They will be having a conference starting on the 2nd to 3rd of October 2025 in Livingston. Please do make sure to join them. From me and the entire Zanis production team, we say goodbye and God bless you.
Thank you.